When Marcos Maidana and Floyd Mayweather stepped into the ring in May of 2013, most expected money to cruise to a wide decision over a well-picked contender. Few expected the Argentinian brawler to drag the reigning pound-for-pound king into a life-and-death struggle for his unbeaten record. In the Maidana corner, there was no awe, just the quiet confidence of a team that believed they'd seen something the boxing world had missed. Coming into the Mayweather fight, many still viewed Maidana as a one-dimensional action fighter, ignoring years of technical and tactical evolution under the watchful eye of Robert Garcia. The Argentinian knockout artist had grown past his raw brawling style, channeling his natural aggression into structured pressure fighting and a quality jab. Maidana beautifully showcased these newfound abilities in his destruction of the self-proclaimed Mayweather heir, Adrien Broner.
While Broner has recorded 11 of his 22 KOs in the first two rounds, and there's the right hand lead by Maidana that sticks up. He's hurt back and hurt. Neither guy wants to back off. Maidana tired and he's still trying to throw punches. Broner very impressive in the fact that he's been knocked down twice with a lot of power, yet he still tries to come forward.
And in doing so, earned himself a shot against the real thing. The safest bet in boxing for much of the 21st century remained Mayweather by wide decision. Floyd would do what he always does, and Marcos would return to his old brawling ways, swinging at the air while being soundly outboxed all night. But what would it look like if Maidana didn't get the script? As the fighters faced off and listened to the referee's instructions, all of the questions about new Maidana were ready to be answered. From the opening bell, he stalked, feinted, changed levels, and then crashed into Mayweather's comfort zones, testing every habit that had made Floyd untouchable for a decade. Right away, Maidana tested Floyd's reactions with a probing jab and level change. Knowing Mayweather would be braced for looping right hands, Marcos used these level changes as a bluff, lowering his stance just enough to suggest the right hand, then stepping Floyd back with nothing but a threat. For Maidana, the geography of the fight was everything. Every step Floyd took towards the ropes was a small victory, even if no punch landed.
Away from the counter.
After feinting Floyd to the ropes, Maidana unleashed a series of unorthodox strikes perfectly designed to get around Mayweather's famous shoulder. A set of overhand rights, thrown at the kind of arc that would make Chuck Liddell crack a smile, landed high on Mayweather's forehead, on his cheek, and sometimes behind his head. To Maidana, it didn't matter where they landed, so long as they allowed him to keep Mayweather off rhythm, presenting opportunities to break through the champion's signature defense. By taking away the shoulder roll, Maidana quickly defused Floyd's primary counter-threat, the right hand off the shell. With that weapon tamed, Floyd had to stand and trade, presenting Maidana with the openings he needed to dig to the body. When Floyd hit Maidana with a borderline low blow to get himself off the ropes, Marcos responded in kind, a lasting message to the sport's biggest star that he wasn't here for a pretty boxing match, but to force a fight, rules be damned. By the end of the first, the patterns were set. Mayweather was already bleeding time on the ropes, complaining to the referee, and being forced to fight at a pace and range he didn't choose.
Continues to stalk. This is vintage Maidana. I'll throw everything, including the kitchen sink at you, and hope that I drop it. Everything's a big shot that he's landing here.
Maidana came out for the second round, continuing to work behind his lead hand feints, this time showing more variation with flashes of a lead hook, keeping Mayweather guessing about what the next move would be: jab, hook, or a sudden rush behind the right hand. Extending his level changes into a crouched stance, diffusing Floyd's offense, and presenting the opportunity to double up with a rear hand to the body and head. To this point in his career, Mayweather had been used to being the superior fighter off the ropes. In the latter stages of his career, the undefeated superstar had started to rely on this tactic with more frequency, using it as an opportunity to rest his legs and tire his opponents, while clipping them with right hands off the shoulder roll and exiting with a check left hook. Against Maidana, however, Floyd found himself unable to rely on these tricks. For a fighter whose legacy was built on reading, downloading, and then dictating terms, being stuck on the ropes and forced into exchanges this early was a quiet crisis. Instead of trying to line up a straight right hand inside of Floyd's shoulder, Maidana stepped deep outside the lead foot and looked to bring his right hand down on top of the head. By taking this angle, Maidana found himself in a position to fire his left hook on Mayweather as he bent at the waist. When a right hand missed, Maidana used the missed punch to either push Floyd further into the ropes or to pin him in place for follow-up left hands. While punching out of your stance is generally considered a nightmare against a slick technical boxer such as Floyd, Marcos used this opportunity to attack with double or triple right hands from a southpaw or square-on stance, catching Mayweather on the way back up from his deep slips. As the early rounds progressed, Maidana found continued success with his well-planned attacks, unleashing combinations to the body, then finishing with a right hand upstairs, stepping out of his stance to rip dual hooks from odd angles, and keeping Floyd thinking with the constant threat of a jab. Roughhouse tactics from both men started to sneak in, as Mayweather caught Maidana with sneaky elbows that drew headbutts in response. Mayweather often relied on his elbows when a fight got up close, using them to frame off of his opponents, and if they happened to get caught by one in the process, it presented as merely a happy accident. But the rougher the fight turned, the more Floyd began to complain to Tony Weeks. Although he wasn't adverse to using these dark arts to his advantage, Floyd knew that engaging with Marcos in a scrappy brawl was not a path to victory. A clash of heads midway through the round left Floyd dabbing at his eye for the remainder. For the first time in years, Mayweather was bleeding, uncomfortable, and behind on the scorecards. Not broken, but far from his usual picture of composure.
I know he used the head. You will see. Okay, come on. Keep your hand up, Floyd. Keep your hand up.
In the fifth round, Floyd fought almost entirely off the front foot. By refusing to cede ground, he limited Chino's ability to punish him on the ropes. But as he pressed forward, Maidana's jab that previously existed just to feint now scored points and set up his power shots. By crashing in with his right hand from mid-range, Maidana stopped Floyd's forward momentum and allowed him to follow up with unexpected shots from a southpaw stance. Eventually, this pressure forced Floyd to back up to the ropes, allowing Maidana to unleash with a barrage of left hooks to the body on the inside as the round came to a close. But Maidana's problem was always going to be time. To outthink Mayweather for 12 rounds was an impossible task, and going into the second half of the fight, the champion started to adapt. After struggling to win rounds with his back to the ropes and getting caught with big right hands in the middle of the ring, Floyd made the conscious decision to circle into the power hand of Maidana. Defying expectations, by moving into the danger and working with an active lead hand, Floyd took away Maidana's outside angle, giving himself a better view of when the right hand was coming. When Chino changed levels, Floyd caught him with left hooks before sliding out of range. Although Floyd's process of turning the fight around had begun, Maidana continued to show his ring craft, even using some of Floyd's own tricks against him. When Marcos got Floyd to the ropes, Mayweather now showed more patience, waiting until Maidana finished attacking, targeting the body, and circling out of danger. The more time the two competed in centre ring, the more clean shots Floyd connected with. Having arguably lost the first 5 rounds in a row, Floyd's ability to change the strategy on a dime stands as proof of his famous in-fight adjustments. When the bell rang for round 8, the momentum was now firmly with Floyd. In the ring though, Maidana kept doing the one thing that always matters against the defensive savant, and made every moment feel like it could flip on a single exchange. Maidana rushed and forced his faster opponent to the ropes, unrelenting in his efforts to land on the defensive maestro, but with considerably less success than the early rounds had brought. Perhaps in frustration, but more likely out of spite, Maidana hit Floyd with a low blow on the blind side of the referee, and used the opportunity to land free shots to the face of a complaining Mayweather. El Chino was determined to show that even in losing rounds, he could present Floyd with a unique challenge, rooted in the constant threat of danger that a one-punch knockout artist possesses. After all, a puncher such as Maidana isn't supposed to win on points against one of the greatest pure boxers of all time. As Mayweather danced and pot-shotted, Stabbing to the body and ripping off combinations, Maidana threw his arms up in frustration. His opportunities were becoming fewer and further between, hastened by Tony Week's short fuse in the clinch. Maidana planned for this moment. Showing Floyd the jab that would act as a trigger for the right hand, Maidana slipped the return while sending the biggest right hand he could muster onto the sternum of a fortunate Floyd Mayweather. Going into the championship rounds, and knowing it could well be 5 rounds apiece, Mayweather refused to let his foot off the gas. He remained aggressive, briefly switching stances to land right hands from both stances. The variety kept Maidana guessing and limited his ability to time Floyd's movements. Yet Maidana refused to fade quietly. In the final minutes of the 11th, he got Floyd's back to the ropes and landed with a series of power shots as the crowd chanted his name. When all else failed, Maidana even resorted to a double leg takedown that sent the crowd into a frenzy. In the final round, Floyd boxed with the kind of elite sharpness you would expect of an undefeated Hall of Famer, looking to leave no doubt with the judges. His sharp lead left hook and counter right hands by now were landing largely at will. But Maidana kept coming. Cutting the ring off with large steps, Maidana finally found the space to pivot around Floyd's foot again and land with a left hook. He refused to let Floyd breathe, charging forwards with a Dempsey roll, unleashing power shots one after another as his stance switched with each step. Floyd, aware that Maidana's success was too little too late, stalled out the clock with some expert rope grabbing. One last signature pull counter connected before the fighters clinched away the closing seconds. Both men raised their hands in celebration, each believing they had done enough to win. Mayweather had survived the storm, adjusted his way back into control, and spent long stretches of the fight in the trenches with the man who was never supposed to get close in the first place. When the judges' scorecards were read, Floyd Mayweather's unblemished record remained clean by way of majority decision. For Maidana, even in a loss, this was close to a validation of everything he and Robert Garcia had built. He hadn't just come in with a puncher's chance, but outthought and outworked everybody's expectations, winning more rounds against Mayweather than anyone since Oscar de la Hoya or Jose Luis Castillo. Maidana had done what no one was supposed to do and made Floyd Mayweather look human, spitting on the pre-fight odds and earning himself a place in the shortlist of men who pushed the best boxer of the century right to the brink. Not to mention securing a second chance to try and finish the job.